Everybody, thanks so much for listening to the podcast. If you're listening to us for the first time, please like, subscribe, and share, whether it's Spotify, YouTube, or any other one of the podcasting locations you're listening to us on. If you happen to listen to us on the radio or another platform where you can't do that, we thank you so much. Please tell your friends, your family members, whoever you can get your hands on. We're trying to build this up, of course. We have a returning guest, a man, and also his wife does a lot of the work here too. So I want to throw her name in there too. They've been doing amazing work over in New Jersey. This is Jeff Allen. He's the director and co-founder of Monkey House. You can find their YouTube channel on Monkey House NJ on YouTube. On Facebook, it's Monkey House Dog Hospice and Sanctuary. And you can also donate to them on Amazon Smile, which is a quick synopsis. If you go on Amazon Smile, Google it, sign up for it, and you can pick charities to donate. And Amazon gives an extremely small percentage to that charity, but at least it's something. So again, Monkey's House on Amazon Smile. So that was a heck of a lot of an introduction, Jeff, but we got through it. And thanks so much for coming back on the program. It's always great to have you on.
Well, thanks, Rob, for having me on again. Last time we had a great conversation. I'm sure we're going to have another one.
All right. So we do have the books too. And if you do want to check out the books, I did write my review on Amazon. I would say if you do get both of these books or even one of them, I would say write the review of what you think on that. Again, the first book is Where Dogs Go to Live, and that's more of a regular reading book. The other book is Life's a Bone, Chew It All Day Long. That's more of a coffee table quotes book, and I enjoyed both of the books, and I'm happy that Jeff sent those to me, and we're going to talk about those books in just a second. But Jeff, for people that didn't hear our last conversation, can you tell the audience a little bit about you and Monkey's House in general?
Certainly. So Monkey's House is a dog hospice and sanctuary. We bring dogs in from shelters that are usually senior dogs. They have multiple medical issues and they're unadoptable. And sadly enough, if it's not for our organization or some organizations like ours, they'd be taken into the back and euthanized. So we actually save their lives. We bring them onto our little 6-acre farm here we have in New Jersey. They don't live on the farm, they live in our house. So we have anywhere from 20 to 25 dogs at any one time, hospice dogs, living with us. And we do have some that are in forever fosters too. But so those dogs are getting the best final chapter that they can get.
How are the dogs taken towards the huge snowstorm we just had here in the Northeast?
Yeah, I think they take more to the cold, some of them, because like you, I have to go out. Well, luckily I have a tractor because we do have about a 400-foot driveway and I plow the driveway. And so we take them for walks back and forth on there. And then I go out back and I actually shovel little areas for them because they have to go outside and do their business as much as possible. Some do them on pee pads if need be. But so I do get everything cleaned off pretty good for them. But if it's real, like it was not quite as cold as you probably had, but we had about 7-8 degrees at night. And those dogs, we have little jackets on some of them and they go out and they're back in quick after they get done.
I want to go into this because I believe this is a huge problem in our country. And I know that you kind of deal with this in Monkey's House in a way. So I want to kind of discuss this. There's a huge homelessness dog problem in the country. Not just your organization that deals with this, but I've interviewed other organizations and they talk about it's a huge problem. Down south, it's even bigger because of how warm it is. And these dogs, they're outside, they get lost and it becomes a big problem. And if the animal control gets them, if it's not a no-kill shelter, they're basically screwed and get euthanized, unfortunately. Can you talk about this problem? Do you believe it's from the puppy mill issue that we saw throughout many states of our country, that there's not really good laws on these puppy mills in general too?
No, look, I believe that in New Jersey now they've outlawed pet stores from selling the puppy mill dogs. Now, I don't know how easy it is to verify that, right? But a lot of places have converted over and they actually have shelter puppies in there, right? And so They still sell them, probably not as high of a price, but it kind of helps out. But there are states still that have the puppy mills are really bad. It was funny growing up. I said this to my wife, because we rescued some horses years ago too, and we rescued them from the Amish. The Amish, who I always grew up and thought these Amish are like the nicest people, but they're really hard on their animals. Their animals are tools for them. They are the ones that have most of the puppy mills, right? That's how they make a lot of their money. It's very sad. They should be outlawed across the country, I think. And another point that you said, I think in the Northeast, I think it's also a mentality, is that our pets in the Northeast are more of our family members. And I think in the South, and I'm not saying this this is not everybody, because I'm sure there's tons of people in the South that feel that their pets are also family members, but there's also a lot of people in the South that don't feel that way. You'll find more dogs, I think, chained up outside in the South. Disgusting. You'll find more things like that. I know we work with a partner that goes down once a month to Georgia and brings back like 150 to 200 dogs every month, and puts them in other shelters in the Northeast, and then they'll get adopted out, because there's a lot of dogs down there that would be euthanized. And these are younger dogs too. These are not senior dogs.
We kind of got into this in the last interview, but I want to go a little bit more in depth, because, you do, I guess you're doing the service of helping these older dogs that are not going to be adopted because they have so many medical issues, and you want to give them this great home to, how many ever the years they last, whether it's 2 years, 5 years, whatever it may be. There's a lot of dogs that are older dogs that maybe don't even have medical issues, but they are stuck in these shelters just because they're not that cuddly little puppy that everybody wants and they see on TV. But a lot of these older dogs are still great companions and great pets. And, they're older, so they do know the potty training already. They don't have those issues like a puppy would have, where you have to train them consistently to get them to learn how to obey commands and other things in general. Why do you feel like people don't look at that and say, hey, we might have the dog that's older for a shorter time span because he is older, but he already knows all these commands. He already knows how to go to the bathroom. I mean, it's just like a great companion to have. Why do you think people are against having older dogs so much?
I think like people ask us all the time, like, how do we do what we do? Like you said, we could lose 15 to 20 dogs in a year because of the hospice dogs. And how do we do it? It tears our heart out every time, but it's like, we get so much from them. Right. So I think that might be part of the problem. People are afraid to adopt a senior dog because they're only going to have them for a few years. They're afraid they're going to be heartbroken. They are going to be heartbroken. But you know what? You're going to give that dog a great life, and they're going to give you so much love in those 2 to 3, maybe 5 years that they have, versus, the 10 to 15 that you're doing them a great service, and they're actually doing you a great service. Like you said, they're not going to chew on your furniture. They're not going to make messes in your house. They're actually good, and they appreciate. I find that they appreciate you rescuing them more than obviously a puppy.
Can we talk about this, the relationship between man, woman, and dog?
That's a hard one to talk about, but yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. Right. I joke, but one of my jokes is that, I could discipline my dog, right? Say he chewed something or did something, I could discipline my dog, and let's say at the same time, I have a disagreement with my wife, right? So when I come home from work, who's there waiting at the door for me? The dog. The wife still might be mad at me, or the husband if you're a woman, right? So the spouse could still be upset with you, but the dog's not. They live in a moment, and they are so trustworthy. I had a friend who I used to couple with for about 10 years, and he grew up in New York City, never had a pet. And this is before I even started Monkey's House, but we always had a lot of dogs. And he never understood how I would spend money on the dogs for the health and et cetera, go the extra mile. And his son got a dog. And then for some reason, he started taking care of that dog when his son went to work. He fell in love with this dog. I think he finally realized, I don't think people understand until they have a dog, until they have that relationship, that how they bond with them.
Until you have that significant pet in your life that really comes to you and loves you. And some of these dogs, they love you more than people love you. I mean, let's be honest. And that's just personally what I see.
Yeah. Well, and one thing, and I'm so happy that you stayed with your dog, with your sister's dog, and helped her to the Rainbow Bridge. I've had people before say, and actually some of the vets, a vet I talked to said there's many people that will bring their dog in and then leave because they don't want to go through the heartbreak. But you know what? Your dog is being released and going to the Rainbow Bridge. You should be there. They need you there during that time. So I'm so honored that you stayed there with them.
You know, as an approximate, how long do the dogs usually live in Monkey's house? Obviously, every dog has different issues, so there are different time periods of how they live there. But, you know, as a kind of a generality, how long do they live at Monkey's house, Jeff?
They live, let's just put it this way. They live probably over 5 times longer than what the shelter vet says, right? Because let me tell you why. First off, they're in a home environment. They're getting love. We have volunteers that come over. We call them their aunts and uncles, and they give them love. We use food therapy, so they all get tailored meals. It's home cooked or it's raw food with all the vitamins they need, nutrients, and medicine. So we're traditional, non-traditional. They want for nothing. And honestly, there's dogs that have been here that were supposed to die in a couple of months. 4 years later, they
Wow.
they're with us about 4 years. I would say in general, most dogs are here about a year and a half.
Yeah. What's the longest dog you had? The one that was the 4 years?
No, we have Lucy, who's with us right now.
Yeah.
She came right when we opened up. So in the summer of 2015. So she's going on her 7th year.
Wow. And she was supposed to pass way before that then.
Well, yeah, she probably was supposed to pass in a year or two. But she's here 7 years. She's got multiple cancer. She had cancer. She had a brain tumor. She came with another dog named Mr. Peabody. And Mr. Peabody because he peed on everybody. That's what we named him. But those two were a bonded pair when they came here. He passed a couple years ago, but she's still here. She's living life.
How do you keep track of all these dogs' medications and different foods? Is it just that volunteer base? You said the aunts and the uncles that really help you, because if you got 25, 30 dogs in the house that need all different kinds of special foods, special medications, it's extremely hard to keep track of all that. Whether you write it down or you're very good at organizing, I don't care.
Let me tell you something. Michelle, my wife, Michelle, is like a savant with this stuff. Other things she can't remember to put the grocery list together, right? But with these dogs, you could ask her about any of these dogs, and the dogs we've had probably over 130, 140 dogs now. She can tell you everything about these dogs. I think it's her medical background that triggers it. Plus, she's learned so much about the canine that she can tell you everything, and she has everything. The truth is, we have things written down as well. Because I may be feeding one night, so I have to know how to prepare everything, or one of the volunteers may be prepping dinners as well. But she knows it all.
But how long does it take to make all the food for all these dogs? Do you make it do you prepare this food the day before, or because this is going to be a pretty long process in general?
So you're right. So if sometimes they get gently cooked food, so we would cook maybe 20, 30 pounds. Every few days. So that's like waiting, right? If they get raw, it's easier. And then supplements. So it's not probably the full feeding and, getting the dogs into their areas where they eat and then taking them for a walk is probably about a 2-hour process twice a day.
Okay. Jeff Allen and Michelle Allen, again, they're the director and co-founders of Monkey's House. You can find more about them on YouTube. It's Monkey's House NJ. Facebook is Monkey's House Dog Hospice and Sanctuary. And then, like I said, if you want to go on Amazon Smile and help donate, it's Monkey's House. And just go to Amazon Smile. As you buy stuff on Amazon, they give a little small contribution to Monkey's House if you pick them as the charity, of course. The books, again, are Where Dogs Go to Live and Life is a Bone, Chew It All Day Long. You know, Where Dogs Go to Live. Can you tell the viewers a little bit about this book and what made you want to write it?
Sure. Here it is. Where Dogs Go to Live. Inspiring moments. Actually, inspiring stories of hospice dogs living in the moment. That's our big thing, always living in the moment. So this is actually now, since it took me 2 years to write this book and it came out in 2020. I don't know. I just started writing one day. We do post on, like you said, Facebook is a big thing. We post every night. My wife is more educational, and she'll keep you up to date on the dogs. I do as well, but usually mine are more fun because she's the medical expert in the family. But there's a lot of great teachings out there. If you have a senior dog or a dog that's starting to age, jump on the Facebook page. But I wanted to highlight and say, look, these dogs are not throwaway dogs. They have time remaining. They need to enjoy the remainder of their lives and give us enjoyment. And that's what this book does. I tell 37 stories, 37 dogs. I tell their stories, and in different ways. So I have each chapter has a different theme, and then I weave in a few dogs into each chapter, and it came off really good. As a matter of fact, as you can see, I think since I sent you the book, it won a gold medal in a book award, and it's been a bestseller on Amazon.
So I know every dog that you've had is special. And throughout the book, like you said, you've wrote about many special dogs. Can you tell the viewers, maybe give them a couple of very quick special stories about dogs that were in the book?
Sure. I'll give you a story. And this is kind of in general. Hannah Bear. I used to call her Hannah Banana. She was a Pomeranian. She came in and she had mammary cancer that was actually oozing. Her whole underbelly she needed to have surgery and have all that removed. Had no hair from the neck back. She was quite the wreck. And when she came in, we got her on a healthy food, got her in good enough shape to have the surgery. She had the surgery. And when she first came, she was kind of docile. And we have a couple of cats here as well. So next thing you know, I'd say after a week after the surgery, she started chasing the cats around. So that was her new game. So it's kind of very interesting to see these dogs that, they come here, they're really in really poor shape. And I'm not saying we're curing their terminal diagnosis. We're not, but we're getting them in the best shape possible to live that remaining life. And she was 2.5 years. She was with us. She loved going to the beach. She would walk on the beach. She loved the snow. She had a full, thick coat of hair finally. So she'd be out in the snow, in this 1.5 foot of snow that we got. She'd be loving it, right? That's one of them. Another dog that is actually still here is Violet. Violet is the last dog I talk about in the book. And Violet she came here and she had, we called it a portobello mushroom right between her eyes. It was a cancerous mass that would actually go back and forth. And she came, we rescued her. Her name was Trouble. And we're like, no, her name's not Trouble. So she got a beautiful name like Violet. We had the tumor removed. And we actually thought she was going to be an imposter. An imposter is, we get dogs healthy enough. We've had over a dozen that then go to a forever family. So it's really great. These dogs, they don't need a hospice. We thought she was going to be one. So she went with a foster to get ready, but then she actually ended up having cancer in her jaw. So they wanted to remove the jaw, piece of the jaw, part of the tongue. And we said, no, she's an older dog. That's not going to be a good quality of life. So like I said, we do non-traditional. We use a salve. It's neoplazine that eats the cancer away. It has to have it applied like every 6 months. She did have to have a couple of teeth removed. She's been here now since that for the last 3 years. We go walking in the Pine Barrens here almost every weekend. She loves it. So it's just amazing how these dogs can adjust.
Right. You're doing amazing work there. And I want to end on these few questions before we get into the audience questions, talking about the other book, Life is a Bone, Chew It All Day Long. It's more of a coffee table book. I actually have that right next to me, but through the green screen, you probably won't be able to see it. But regardless of that, can you talk about the book in general and how, you feel it's a great book? It does have a lot of really cool sayings in it, I think, and obviously a lot of beautiful pictures of these beautiful dogs that you've taken care of over the years.
Yeah. So Rob, I wanted to hear this. I wanted to show people that these dogs, I wanted to show them living, right? So if you go through there and there's a picture of like I said, many of the dogs that have been here. And I've come up with a possum quote for each picture that kind of matches the picture. So I think it's a fun book to have on your coffee table. Any dog lover would enjoy having it. I think it's probably a great gift for any dog lover as well.
Well, it's
And
also,
the other Rob, I'm sorry, all the
Sure.
proceeds from that book, 100% go to Monkey's House.
yeah, I mean, it's got beautiful quotes in it. Actually, the last quote, and I just want to read this off the book, and it's got a picture of one of the dogs walking across the bridge, and it's Molly, and it says, "The final stretch on the way home always feels comforting." I actually went through this book after Shawnee had passed, and it did bring me to tears a little bit, going through the quotes. So it really is a good book, like you said, for a dog lover. So, as we go, like I said, to the home stretch of the interview, knock on wood, it seems like COVID is finally slowing down. Again, I knock on wood for that because we hope that's the case. Do you have any events that are planned for Monkey's House as we, seem like somewhat back to normal or getting there, hopefully, as I said?
Well, we don't have anything right now. What we did do is we met with Santa. So every year we have
Oh, nice.
photos with Santa. All the dogs hop into our dog bus called Wagon One. And we went over to this location. It's a garden center. We had the photos. So this year, in the last couple of years, because of COVID, we still did it, but we didn't have a group photo. They were all individual photos with people. So everybody stayed pretty far apart. This year, we finally had our group photo again. We had masks on,
Right.
but we finally got back to it. I think hopefully next year it'll be back to completely normal with the photos. We're hoping. So that's sort of what we have, and we hopefully get more volunteers back. It has been hard. Some volunteers have been starting to come back. Still, a few I think are afraid to come back. So hopefully that'll get back to normal.
What do you hope people learn from both of these books? Where dogs go to live, and also Life's a Bone, Chew It All Day Long.
Well, I hope they learn that, if they have a dog that's getting up in age, or senior dog, what we're trying to do is look, get as now, and if they do have some medical issues with the dog has medical issues, get as knowledgeable as possible. You don't have to be a vet, but get as knowledgeable as possible. Have a great vet that you really trust and you really want to give a hug to. And then, enjoy your dog. I think a lot of people get so worried about those last 6 months or that last period that they may lose that joy in spending time with the dog. And it may be just taking a short walk outside with the sun on your face, So I think knowledge is power. And realize, like you said, what is going to happen. Also knowing what that end stage is. That's what we're always telling people. Know everything, because then you're not going to be surprised. You're going to be able to enjoy your dog through those final days.
I did read a lot about Monkey's House and where you can find it. Again, the YouTube channel is Monkey's House NJ. The Facebook is Monkey's House Dog Hospice and Sanctuary. And again, you can donate to them on Amazon Smile. Definitely check it out. Monkey's House on Amazon Smile. Where else can people help out as far as, whether it's a donation or doing anything you guys need? I'm sure you guys need supplies for these dogs, whether it's food, medications. How can people help out besides what I just said, going to these social media pages and Amazon?
So Rob, if they go to monkeyshouse.org, right? Monkey's House is one whole word, .org. That's our website. And we do have a page on there. There's different ways you can donate. Like you said, there's a platform where you could donate there. There's an address if you wanted to send a check. Like you said, Amazon. There's an Amazon wish list, so we have a lot of supplies that we use on the wish list. Amazon Smile, like you said, and Amazon Smile. Yeah, you said it is a very, very small percentage, but we have quite a few people. So luckily, we are getting $1,200 or $1,500 a quarter come in to help us from Amazon Smile. So that's a plus.
because I want to talk about grieving the loss of a dog. We kind of touched on it a little bit when I went into my story about Shawnee when she passed, my dog, as far as that goes. But how do people move forward after they lose a special friend that, like I said, you feed these dogs, they go all over the place with you, you love them, you kiss them. And, that was, for me, that was like 13 years. And then she died the day before her 14th birthday. So, how do you move forward? Is it to get another dog right away? Is it to have maybe 2 or 3 dogs at a time, just in case one passes away during that time? What would you do, or what should people do in general?
Well, I think that's a very individual. It's very individual, right? Some people, they may get a dog right away, but I think most people won't get a dog right away. Most people we've heard people say, I feel like I'm going to be cheating on Shawnee if I get another dog right away, or even if I get one a few months later. Realize this, Shawnee would want you to have that enjoyment of another dog. We tell all the people that. And you know what? If you're not able to get another dog yet, they're looking for volunteers at all the local shelters to go and walk a dog. I mean, you don't have to adopt it, but go and maybe walk a dog once in a while, right? And get back into that and just seeing that the joy that dogs bring into your life. And then I think eventually you will end up getting another dog.
You changed these dogs' lives. These dogs were going to be probably euthanized. And you changed their lives with the medication that you help them, as far as if the dog needs that, and the care and the love that you guys showed them at Monkey's House. But it's not talked about, and I want you to get deep into this if you could, how these dogs have changed your lives.
Oh, well, first off, they've turned our lives, they changed our lives completely, right? When you're caring for 25 dogs, your normal life is gone, and now you have a new life. And I'm not saying, the old life was good. I think this life is better, actually, because you're seeing what you're doing for these dogs. But we've always said, people say, oh, you give so much love to these dogs. These dogs give us more love back than we give them. They give us so much more. Yeah, it's frustrating at times, right? Because you're cleaning up after 25 dogs and you're feeding 25 dogs. But there's, you could be depressed for some reason, and next thing you know, there's 3 or 4 dogs around you. They want to get on your lap. It's hard to be in a bad mood ever for a long period of time because they are there for you. Like you said, that these dogs are there for you, and here we're supposed to be here for them, and we are, but they're here more for us. And I think for any pet owner, if they really sit down and think about it, those dogs are there by their side all the time when they need them the most.
I agree. Again, for people that are listening, this was Jeff Allen, and he runs this along with his wife, Michelle Allen. They're the director and co-founder of Monkey's House. You can watch them on YouTube at Monkey's House NJ. And then their own website is monkeyshouse.org. Again, monkeyshouse.org. And Facebook, it's Monkey's House. On Facebook, it's Monkey's House Dog, Hospice, and Sanctuary. Amazon Smile, you can donate to them and at Monkey's House. If you want to use the wish list on Amazon, you can use that and help them buy some things that they use to take care of these dogs. And again, the books, Where Dogs Go to Live and Life's a Bone, Chew It All Day Long. Definitely check those books out. We're going to put all this stuff in the description box. We keep having Jeff on because it's really, truly an amazing thing that he, along with his wife, are doing. It's incredible what you guys do and helping these beautiful animals live their best lives on, when they come in, like you said, they're on their down times, and you really raise them up along with the volunteers at Monkey's House. So Jeff, keep up the great work. Thanks for doing what you're doing, and we really appreciate you coming on the program. We hope to do this again as an update down the road for sure.
Well, thank you, Rob, for having me on. Greatly appreciated to get the word out and the mission of Monkey's House out, and just telling people about dogs and how much we love them and they love us.